to some of the progress that has been made. I think that we are now just getting to that point where Dr. King said, where my little children will not be judged on the color of their skin, but by the contents of their character. We are now getting to begin to discover the content of our character after we have resurfaced and been reborn again, the revitalization of Black America, where we find poets like um, 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 Gorman, who spoke so eloquently, Amanda Gorman, that spoke so eloquently during the presidential inauguration. Not only did she speak at the inauguration, then she was invited to speak at the Super Bowl game. These are contributions and attributes to the Black community and to the Black diaspora that we have a contribution to make, and it can no longer be swept under the rug as unavailable or insignificant, because most of the contributions that were made by Black Americans were stolen from Black Americans by white Americans. Even the properties, the landowners' properties, the tobacco farms in Virginia, North Carolina, and all of the things that took place in the South. And unfortunately, gentlemen, I was there. I went to see the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham the Sunday afternoon after those 4 little Black girls were killed and bombed at that church. When we drove past it on the left side of the church, going up the stairs, because there was about 15 sets of stairs going into the 16th Street Baptist Church. I was just there in Birmingham in 2013, took a tour from Atlanta, from Troy to Atlanta, back to Birmingham, and then on around to back to Montgomery. The thing about it was horrific. There was a huge hole in that wall on the lower part of the church, because the church was built with a basement. And downstairs in the basement, after you went downstairs, you could still see outside of the basement. If you all can imagine what I'm talking about. I don't know if any of you were born on the East Coast, whereas you had houses that had basements, but you could still see the footprints of the passing pedestrians walking past. That's the way the 16th Street Baptist Church was built. And to this day, it still stands. And say they remodeled and rebuilt it. And not only is it remodeled and rebuilt, the entire Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolence is also located in that general area. And also the courthouse that's named for the brother that was killed during that riot in Birmingham, when Bull Connors took the water hoses out and sprayed the little Black kids that were protesting and marching up and down the street not necessarily at the request of Dr. Martin Luther King, but at the support of Dr. Martin Luther King. After they heard him speak, they hit the streets.
Okay,
now I can't think of the courthouse, but that courthouse is named after that young brother that was killed. All of these things. And then we had the march from Selma to Montgomery.
right.
And I joined that march on Decatur Avenue. It just so happened I lived on Decatur Avenue as the marchers came by, and I went out to join them. And the biggest rejection of me joining that march came from my mother, who said, "Boy, you're not going out there and getting yourself killed." And so I ended up marching anyway, but I only marched to a certain point, and then I retracted and came back. I didn't go all the way to the Capitol building. And
You there?
The church, yes, yes. The church that Dr. King had in Montgomery is only a stone's throw, as they say, from the Capitol door where George Wallace stood and declared that no N-word people would be ever able to come up there and do and attend the University of Alabama, and he had all type of racist rhetoric going on.
Okay. Now, go ahead.
That was my history. That's my history. That's where I feel that I was born for a time such as this and for a time such as that, when I went from being a little beady-eyed, beady-haired black child along with a little brother to make sure that we would be able to go back and forth to school, go to the movie theaters, go to the grocery stores. We could not walk on the lawns of the white neighbors who were directly behind our property. It was like there was a black community and there was a white community.
Okay.
The black community had dirt streets.
Now,
there was no pavement, no sidewalks or anything.
Okay.
When you go one block over, they will pave cement streets. So what we have to look at is
Charles come back in. Let Charles come back in so he can bring forth.
I apologize. Go right ahead, Brother Charles.
Okay. Now, Elder, what's his last name? Pastor Kelly? Okay, Pastor. Okay, Elder Early, what do you think we have to go progress from where we have come to where we are now?
Excuse me?
What do you think we as African Americans need to do in order to progress further than where we have come from?
Okay, since I have obeyed the word of God, studied to show myself approved, even history, black history, and so on and so forth. And I see what the problem is fear and programming. They put fear. They started fearing us and programmed us, telling us we was less than nothing. Hallelujah. Thank you. But I read my Bible told me the story when God looked down upon the people and saw the people building a tower, and he said the people have become one. And it's nothing impossible under them. And it also tells me love covers a multitude of fault. See, we as black people have to come together. Before we get anything accomplished, that name the courthouse is just a pacifier. That's just a name the courthouse and whatever the streets, that's just a pacifier. Thank you, Jesus. I'm talking about contribution. We have always contributed to America. And they're doing they took a survey on the black slavery, and the black slavery at that time, if they bring it this way, it would be worth $8 billion. That's how we made millionaires and billionaires out of people. But now we can't get lost on hatred. We can't get the way we want to speak about the future. And the future is what the word said. Raise a child in the ways you go, and when they get old, they won't depart from him. And you're talking about the bride because of white peace for killing black brothers. We are the biggest killers of ourselves. Come on now, let's get real.
True.
We are the biggest killers of ourselves.
True. Now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Now, some of that has gone. Now, if you look back at us as African Americans coming from Africa, you had tribes against tribes. Therefore, when the Europeans came to certain kings in Africa who had enslaved certain other tribes, they sold them for artillery and also spices and gold to the Europeans to enslave their enemy, so they have to deal with them anymore. So therefore, in a way, we were divided already. You know what I'm saying? Now, coming here, in America, we have an opportunity to come as one, which we did, as slaves. But the problem is, it's hard to come up if someone had their thumb on your back, or either it's hard to come up. Number two, if you don't know your rights. For example, the first you have 18 amendments in the Constitution. The first 12 was not written for us, but 13 to the 17th Amendment of the Constitution was written for us.
That's right.
It was written for us. It was written for the slaves. If you don't know what your constitutional rights is, you don't know what to demand from the government. You know. See what I'm saying? Another problem we have actually in our community as African Americans is that I was telling Brother Harris before we started, it's going to take young brothers who is already in the community to educate themselves and get their mind right, and also stay in the community and ownership of homes, businesses, so the young brothers and sisters can see that they can do something positive in the community and instead of looking up to Big Mike and Big Will on the block. So you have other brothers in the community, so I'm saying, doing their thing, working hard, trying to provide for their family and future for their kids. But they're overlooked by Big Mike, Big Steve, and all that, you know, so I'm saying?
Right.
There was a song that a rapper did, Too Short, Money in the Ghetto. And he said, what about the guy that worked the job, worked hard, saved his money, bought a house for his wife and kids, you know? You have that going on. But if you're overlooked by Big Willie, Big James and stuff, you know, and what's going on, the negativity, then those who don't know no better is going to gravitate towards that because of what has been put in their face. You know, you have to think, it's going to take brothers like Brother Harrison, Brother Demetrius Kelly, who's reaching out to brothers, trying to educate them and trying to take it to another level and make them responsible and make them better men to govern their families and their children, you know, where they're at. See, we as black people can look towards the government to fix our problems because you have some government's legislatures cripple us, you know. See what I'm saying? It's like for example, I'll show you a perfect example. You know, you have young black girl, I shouldn't call her a girl, but young black lady can get on welfare, you know, but the black man can't stay there. You know what I'm saying? That's a pro and con. It benefits the girl and the child for the moment, but in the long run, it hurts them because the black man's not there to govern their child, especially if there's a boy in the house. You know.
That was no more evident than in Compton, California, when I lived in Compton, California from 1978 up until 1988. I lived in the city of Compton. And if you all who know anything about Compton, it was the bloodiest city at that time in America.
True, because my father's from Compton, you know, and I lived, I was going to see him. I lived there also, so you tell me the truth. I agree.
That's right. That was one of the drawbacks, and I lived there for 10 years. Now, I'm fortunate and thankful that I did not have any more tragedy that did happen. My eldest son, who is now over 40, was shot in Compton, schoolyard in Compton, Robert F. Kennedy Elementary School in Compton. And my home was burglarized in Compton. And, you know, trinkets were taken, like, you know, leather jackets that my wife had bought for my wife, and, you know, so what. Otherwise, I didn't have any problem in Compton. Other than that, you would say, well, wait a minute, your son was shot. That was not a problem. Had he been killed, that would have been a problem.
Right.
But I suppose that he was fortunate enough to, he was fortunate and blessed by God, as Dr. Hurley was talking about, that he survived that ambush because he
I see. Now, also, Mr. Harrison, get back to you. About our community, our state of mind, what you're doing in your program, trying to reach the brothers and stuff, and all that. What the setbacks are, but I'm not here to concentrate on the setbacks. Where can we go forward? How can we move forward to bring positive results, among our people and our families?
So I think that platforms like this are useful because having older black men, how can I put it, have a lot of insight. And like the brother was saying, me as a younger person just reading and watching information about those 4 babies that was killed during the civil rights struggle, for him actually being there, it creates a whole different level of understanding, right? So I think it has to be a bridge that's set, because I know a lot of young men who have turned away from the church, have turned away from black older men who attempt to imbue wisdom on them because they don't believe them, because they don't trust what the person is saying. So because of that, they tend to turn to the streets. They tend to turn to more nefarious action because they feel the guys in this community are helping them more. Because an older friend of mine told me a long time ago, if you want to lead people, you got to feed people, right? So sometimes we have a lot of individuals in our community who are preaching unity and are doing things or talking at the youth opposed to meeting them where they are.
Exactly.
And when that happens, the youth tend to turn off what's actually going on. So, I heard the older brother a few seconds ago say that, we kill each other way more than cops is killing us and this type of thing.
Right.
And I would, to a degree, I believe that, but I think there's room for both conversations. Like being harmed by a public official systematically for decade after decade after decade, that's true, and that actually happens. The black man in America who hurts himself, I think, do I want it to stop, and do I think it needs to end, and is it deplorable to me? Very much so. But at the same time, they were put into a system that kind of spearheaded this kind of activity, whereas we understand in our neighborhoods hurting each other, there's a lot lighter sentence for hurting each other. We're not going to go outside of our community and hurt somebody that's white. I mean, crime is a proximity-based activity.
Right.
All people who live around each other hurt themselves more so than the people outside of that community. We're just black, so we deal with a lot of disenfranchisement and dysfunction, so it's going to look a particular way. And we have to factor in that we have a system that criminalizes our young men. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost 2 separate conversations. We have a system that's plagued us and do particular things to us, and then as people we need to put that system to the side at times and say, okay, we know what has happened to us throughout history. How can we create a roadmap for younger brothers to navigate these things and come out on the other side? But at the end of the day, there has to be conversation, and we have to meet people where they are, because I'm a 40-year-old black man who don't have a grandfather, I don't have a grandmother, I don't have any elders, right? So I know a lot of people like me. So at times we just need older people to sit us down and speak to us eye to eye, opposed to looking down on us.
I agree. Now, what about you, Pastor Kelly? Piggyback on Mr. Harrison as said.
I mean, basically what he said is spot on, because you have a lot of the elders, the elderly group, that's sort of kind of vacant, and not given the sound wisdom that's needed. And at the same time, we still dealing with which is called the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Yes, sir.
Which is still prevalent for today's time. And a lot of our young black men and girls, they need to read that. And they can get information in regards to the Willie Lynch syndrome. It's a book.
Right.
And get that and read that, and that also needs to be taught. Because what I do when I get a chance, I share that information. I take it and I share that information. I show them, and I give them, because I'm a person on research. I give them, I say, go and research this. Don't just take my word for it, but go and research it. And so therefore, when you get it, you can read it, and you can, and however, you interpret it, then you can see for yourself. And so I always tell them, go back and get that book, the Willie Lynch syndrome, which is still prevalent for today's time, because there were systems set up, and the system was set up just like it was mentioned about the welfare. Well, see, a lot of our blacks don't understand. Even when Bill Clinton was in the system, when he was president, that was still prevalent even then, because the welfare system was set up to take the black man out of the home and just keep the women, single.
Right.
And, pregnant and dealing with, whatever the situation, in the aftermath of all of that. Then you got the incarceration, which is another system of incarcerating our young black men. Then you got the system of killing, and all these systems are stacked on top of each other, which it causes layers. And we need to go and peel those layers back. But we have to educate the young people and really sit down and talk with them and not just talk about it, but actually show them in regards to what they can see and what they can view and what they can receive in regards to how to get up out of the ghetto instead of trying to go find Big Mike, Big Lou, or whoever, they got a pocket full of money, but, and the products that he's selling is still hurt the community. So we got to show them in regards to they have a mind and they need to generate and get into the form of, educating themselves and knowing that they are better and appreciate it, that they got, and show them that they are appreciated, even for whatever little thing that they do, that they are appreciated.
I agree. Now, say for instance, like I'm gonna show you something, man. Say for instance, you have like a system is designed, first of all, to keep us as a people down. Racism, systematic racism is real. When Johann Hohan from Germany started racism back in the 17th century, when he came up with different classifications of color and said white was more supreme than other colors and stuff, and all that. That just started. That sparked something, what I'm saying? So now we're in America, we're African Americans, what I'm saying? We're trying to progress forward. Dr. King and those gave their lives for the civil rights, movement so we can progress. But individually, it helped a lot of people, white women, gays, like Brother Harrison said, women, black women. But us as black men, it's like it seems as though the harder we try, there's always something like a stone coming against us, I'm saying, trying to keep us from progressing and going forward and moving forward. So I'm saying, one of the problems we have as black men is generating generational wealth, which has been could be passed down. And I'll take a perfect example, man. Back in the 30s, 20s, 30s, and 40s, you got the Italians, you got the Irish, you got the Jews. They were considered the nig. Now you add GER to that, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm saying here in America. Yeah. Now the government gave the Irish, which was considered a minority at the time, the Italian, and the Jews, the ability to take their dirty money and invest it into businesses. See what I'm saying? So now you have the Jews almost owning everything. Italians have their community owning things. Irish do too. But you take us who have made money in the dope trade and stuff, it's like, if we invest it, we're going to lose everything.
Right.
See what I'm saying? And all that. And so it's like, I'm trying to figure out why is it so hard on the black man compared to other races. You know what I'm saying? To come up and generate wealth so we're gonna pass down to our kids so they can have something also as well. It's like a stigma against us, you know.
Well, yes, if I could interject and just say something in that space there, Brother Charles, it's because of our lack of connectivity to our ancestors.
Gotcha.
I believe that. That's true.
Gotcha. I agree with you. Let me say something, Mr. Johnson, before you take off. I'm sure something, man. Like, everybody's familiar with Louis Farrakhan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that? You remember Muammar Gaddafi?
Yeah.
Okay, Muammar Gaddafi was going to actually pour money into the African American communities here in America. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because if you look at all the races, whether Hispanic, Italian, Jew, what else? Chinese, Korean, you know, they don't slaughter them and kill us. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they have other countries that can hold the United States accountable to. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So now you had Muammar Gaddafi was going to pour money into the black community to hold the United States accountable for black people here in America. See what I'm saying?
You are. Yeah.
But they got rid of them. See what I'm saying? When they found out what they were trying to do.
That's true.
See, it's going to take a country like whether it's Uganda or Nigeria, whatever. See what I'm saying? To take interest in us. You know what I'm saying? And pour their wealth into the African American community and have a binding constitution in that country for governs us here in America. See what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how you go. A lot of that mess you see going on, the killings, the beatings, all that kind of stuff will stop.
Well, it's about power, money, and control. If you notice what's happening to our African continent, I was fortunate to visit there in 1972, Kenya and Mombasa. In our African continent, on our African continent, there is a push of every other nationality, especially the Chinese. They are buying up property. They are investing money in the infrastructure there. They are building a train connection from China to Africa. And this is where all of the focus is. And we don't have any say-so in that matter. We have billionaires. Someone had mentioned millionaires and billionaires. I think y'all heard it on the radio, on here. The only person that we've ever seen even showing interest in Africa was Oprah Winfrey when she went over to try and build a school for those young black girls. Now, the thing about it is, if we don't show that type of interest, and Marcus Garvey tried to get us to understand the reason why we need to return back to Africa, but we weren't hearing that at the time because the prominence of America looked so valuable to us. We didn't give going back to Africa a second thought, especially when it was like they were showing us at the Tarzan movies. You know,
It was the way that they were portraying as a stigma. It was the way that they were portraying Africa.
Right.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. And especially if they're showing you African Tarzan movies to depict Africa as a jungle full of apes and monkeys and elephants. And so no one wanted to go back over there, per se, and because we had not been there. If you realize what we're looking at now, we're looking at a situation where we had not been to Africa. We were put here in America. We were placed here in America, and when we were born here in America, our ancestors never told us that this was not our original country.
True.
Right. Well,
I agree.
We was cut off from that part of it.
Absolutely.
We was cut off.
And as you mentioned, Pastor Kelly, the prison industrial complex was a project of Bill Clinton. And a lot of people say, well, Bill Clinton, he was the first black. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was playing right into the hands of those white socialites and those white right-wing Republicans, and everybody else was. But he was hiding. He was throwing the rocks and hiding his hand. He was the one that kept the prison industrial complex going. Who closed down all the Army Air Force bases and Army bases around the country? Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Makes
Right.
sense.
And just to piggyback up on Africa, because I just learned yesterday that Stevie Wonder,
It's
he
moving.
moved to Ghana.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Him and his family. He said he don't want to raise. He don't want his children and grandchildren raised. Well, his grandchildren raised in America anymore. So he moved to Ghana.
Yeah, and George Floyd even has a monument set up in Ghana. I don't know if you all knew that or not.
I didn't know that.
George Floyd killing. Ghana came forward and recognized George Floyd as a genuine Ghanaian resident.
Okay. That's interesting.
I want to say this before we get off, but I want to say this. You know, there is light. There is light.
I believe that.